So what you'll notice here is this time the line is vertical, so it actually passes through all values of y because it's moving in the vertical direction. We're going to look at the equation of a straight line. Whenever we draw a straight line on a set of Cartesian axes like so, we can describe the line using some equation. And the equation of a line, it describes how the x coordinate of any point on the line is related to the y coordinate. Now, there's not always going to be a relation between x and y, because you might have a situation where the straight line only changes in the x direction, or it might only change in the y direction. Now, these will give the most simple straight line equations, okay? So we're going to start with those. For example, let's take a look at this line here. Now, you can see that the line is only changing in the x direction. There's no movement in the y direction, okay? There's no movement in the vertical direction. So there won't really be any relation between x and y because the value of y doesn't change, so it's just constant. And that's actually a good thing because it means we can just simply draw a relation that only involves the y coordinate of any point on this line. Now, if we consider what the y coordinate of any point on this line is, let's just choose maybe 2 random points here. So for this first point, we can see that x is equal to -3. Okay, so let's go ahead and write that. So x is -3, and when x is -3, we can see that y is 2. Okay, and for the second point, we've got x is 2, and again, y is 2, right? So for any point we plot, we're going to have some value of x that can vary, and we're going to have some value of y, which in this case will always be 2, right? For the ones that we've just looked at, we've just chosen some arbitrary points that happen to have x values of -3 and 2. However, the commonality between any point that is drawn on this line will be such that we will have a constant y value of 2. Therefore, we can go ahead and just describe this line as the line of y equals 2. Okay, because the y coordinate of all the points on the line will always be equal to 2 because there's no change in that vertical direction. Okay, now let's have a look at another line. Okay, so take a look at this line, see if you can determine the equation of the line and also some arbitrary point, a generalization of the points that will fall on this line. Have a go. Okay, so we've got the pink line. Now we know it's going in the horizontal direction. What does that mean? It means there's no change in the y coordinate. We could plot 10 points on this line. They're all going to have the same y value because every point on the line is at the same height, right? It's just flat. So we can have some value for our x coordinate, and then the y coordinate is just going to be equal to the value of y for every point on this line, which we can see is -5. Okay, so the general form of any point on the line is x comma -5. Therefore, the equation of this line is y equals -5. So we can see that for any horizontal line, we're always going to get a constant value of y, and therefore we can always define our line by equating y to some constant value. So let's have a look at, this time, a vertical line. So what you'll notice here is this time the line is vertical, so it actually passes through all values of y because it's moving in the vertical direction. However, this time there's no movement in the horizontal direction, which means there's no change in the x coordinate. That means for every point on this line, the x coordinate must be a constant. It must be a constant value. And whatever that constant value is, because this will be true for every single point on the line, we can use this to define or to describe this line, this property, if you like. So the property for every point on the line is such that x is equal to -3. So now let's have a look at this last line here. See if you can describe this line using its equation. So we look at the line and we can see that there is no change in x. Whatever point we define on this line, the x value will always have the same value because it's changing. However, it's moving through y, so y will be our variable. So we can go ahead and find this line as the line x is equal to 9, because this holds true for every point on the line. Join me in the next video where we'll be describing lines which are not necessarily horizontal and vertical. See you soon.